Hey everybody, it's GometX and welcome back to another Jumpstart video. This is the event where you get two themed booster packs, shuffle them up, and get your own unique deck to play against other players who have done the same. In this event, you get a random rare reward from Jumpstart as your first and second win reward. You can play as much as you want, no matter how many times you lose or win, and yeah, you get to keep the deck, add it to your decks, and play against your friends later. So before I get into this event, I would like to again thank Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring all of my content this week. They have sent me 10,000 gems to my account and 30 packs of every standard set. So big thanks to Wizards of the Coast and the Magic Content Creator Program for the opportunity. Much thanks to them. So let's start the event here and see what our packets are. We've got Minions, Dinosaurs, and Liliana. So I already have gotten the Liliana pack, but it is worth mentioning that in the Liliana pack, in any of the Planeswalker named packs, you're always going to get that Planeswalker. So if you're trying to make just a powerful deck, you're getting a guaranteed Planeswalker in any of these packs. So keep that in mind. This might be the most powerful pack out of these three, but since I already have it, I'd like to grab something I don't have the basic land for yet, and some of the other cards for yet. So I think I'm going to go with Minions here, just because I have played with dinosaurs quite a bit in other sets. I have a Godzilla Brawl deck and stuff like that, so let's do something a little different here. Go for Minions. I believe that's a deck about a lot of smaller creatures that can give you effects when you sacrifice them or while they're in the grave, stuff like that. Just a bunch of little sacrificial fodder. Now we have the Chandra Pack, which again, you will get a Planeswalker in that pack, so I could have went Liliana Chandra here and just had a busted double Planeswalker deck. That would have been pretty mean, but I think, again, I would like to try to grab something that I don't have yet, if it exists, but there's nothing I don't have yet here. There's Witchcraft, +1, and Chandra, so +1 is about +1/+1 counters, Witchcraft about witches, and Chandra is about Chandra. Now, I do think Chandra's a pretty powerful Planeswalker and a pretty powerful pack in general, so I might just go with that one. If not Chandra, I think I'll go with the +1. I don't usually like to go two packs of the same color because every pack will have a thriving land. The thriving lands come into play tapped, and they will tap for whatever color you choose. So feels really awkward to have those in a mono color deck because then you're basically playing a comes into play tapped swamp if we're double black. I guess I will go with the Chandra deck. That just seems like probably the most powerful one since those are all already themes that I have gotten before. So I always like to look through my deck list before I hop into the event because I only play these events until I hit my 2 wins to get all of my prizes, and it is entirely possible to run through the whole event without seeing all of our rares. So I like to check out the pack and see what we got, just so I know what's getting added to my collection, regardless of what I draw in the games. So Young Pyromancer is a pretty great one. This card actually sees some legacy play, so it sees play in some formats that you can play like any card in the history of Magic in, so it is very, very powerful with cheap, powerful instants and sorceries, so this could definitely make an impact on Historic at some point. Don't think it really is making one right now, though. And then our rare in our Minions pack is Kel's Fight Fixer. This is the black legendary creature that's new to Jumpstart, so that's very cool. It's kind of a sacrifice aristocrats kind of commander, so that could be cool for Historic Brawl, indeed. And then in the Chandra pack, there is only one version of each Planeswalker pack. In every single one, you're going to get 2 rares. You're going to get the Planeswalker themselves, as well as their rare card that mentions them. So in Chandra's pack, you get Chandra Heart of Fire, and Chandra's Incinerator. In Garruk's pack, you get Garruk and Garruk's Harbinger, and so on. So very nice deck there. I think it looks pretty powerful. Black-red, kind of some sacrifice synergies, as well as just big old Chandra monsters. Lots of removal in the Chandra deck as well. That should help us against any smaller threats from our opponents, since it is all damage-based removal. Might not be able to kill anything like giant dinosaurs that we might run up against. Let's see what we got here. Only a 2-land hand here, but I do have 3 2-mana cards, so plenty of stuff that I can afford to play. I'm going to start with the Chandra's Magmut. Move on with the Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. I'm going to save Young Pyromancer for last, in case they have any kind of removal. That is the one that I would want to die the least. Since I drew the 3 mana card that turn, I'll drop that one first. This is a 2/1 flyer, and when it dies, it drains our opponent for 2 of their life. Looks like they have that as well. They are on Vampires and Mill, so they did get the Mill theme. That is one of the mythic rare themes, meaning it is... there's only one version of it, and it's pretty rare to get. So very cool from our opponent. Wouldn't be surprised if the Mill theme is pretty powerful in Jumpstart, just because these are limited games, so you are running only a 40 card deck, so you don't have to mill that many cards to mill you out of the game entirely. I think I'll drop my Pyroclastic Elemental. I'm definitely going to play a Crypt Lurker, sacrificing the Ghoul Caller's Accomplice later. For now, they do have a 3/3 Blood Bond Vampire that is just going to get bigger, that can already block all of our ground creatures. Pyroclastic Elemental will hopefully be too big, though. Plus Chandra's Magmut being able to get in. So this is a bit risky. If they have an instant speed way to gain life, this isn't going to do anything for me, but I'm still going to go for it. Because I don't know for sure what's in that vampire deck. I don't think there's instant speed life gain. There is, however, counter spells in the mill half of their deck. So that's unfortunate. So it looks like that definitely would have resolved. Or it would have been a lethal amount of damage if they hadn't have countered it. So it would have resolved if they didn't have the mill half of their deck, if it was just the vampires. I should wait on that until their end step. I do have enough mana to start pinging them for an extra damage with Pyroclastic Elemental's ability, which is pretty nice. Eternal Taskmaster can bring back creatures from my grave every time it attacks. I think I'll just drop my Crypt Lurker, sacrifice this 1/1 to draw a card. Let's see what we draw into. Drainpipe Vermin. Just a little 1/1 creature that you don't mind sacrificing, because when it dies you can spend a black to have somebody discard a card. They are going to Capture Sphere the Pyroclastic Elemental. If I attack with both of these, I'm just getting 2 damage in at the cost of one of those. It doesn't seem the greatest right now, but they're getting pretty low, so we have to definitely think about when we could Alpha Strike and just break through. When we could send in with all of our creatures, sure, sacrifice a creature to do it, but when it would be a point where the amount of damage would be worth that. So Selhalf Occultist is a reprint from original Innistrad. Whenever it or another creature dies, target player mills a card. I forgot to do a damage to them. That is really scary, because when any creature dies, not even just one of their creatures, I have to mill a card. So that could mill a lot pretty quickly. I think I will still send in the 3/4 though. The only way they can kill my 3/4 is if they let me kill that Selhalf Occultist or the Bloodbond Vampire. Probably want to kill the Bloodbond Vampire first, just because it's larger. They're down to 8 life already. My field is massive. I think I can deal with Selhalf Occultist milling me a decent amount, because I do still have 20 cards. So I have a bit of leeway to go. Pillar of Flame, that does 2 damage to something. I guess with Chandra's Incinerator's ability, it could actually clear their board here. If they don't have a counterspell again, this will clear the Occultist off the board and I just get to swing in unblocked. And that would end it. Granted, with a 6/6 trample on board at this point, I don't think I really would have needed to do that if I just sent in with everybody. However, with a sweep away, throw Incinerator on top of my library. They probably have a mill card to mill him, but again, my field is just so massive, I only need to get through with one of my 2 power creatures to defeat my opponent here. They do gain 3 life off the Agonizing Siphon, so now they're up to 5. Still not going to be enough without more blockers, and they did not have enough mana to recast the blockers that they returned to their hand with Sanguine Indulgence. So that game worked out pretty well for us. Our theme decks were just a little bit faster. Minions and Chandra both seemed to be pretty aggressive, pretty quick decks, whereas Mill and Vampires definitely had some slower plays there, especially Mill. Mill had like counter spells and then just a little bit slow creatures, and then the Vampires deck ended up having like returning creatures from the grave, just more expensive stuff in general. So let's see what our first individual card reward is. Come on, something I don't have yet. It is a Ghalta Primal Hunger, probably one of the worst cards you can get if you've already drafted a lot of Rivals of Ixalan. Unfortunately, there's no duplicate protection in Jumpstart, which really blows. Yeah, I would really love if they did something about that, but that is the main problem with Jumpstart on Arena, is the lack of duplicate protection. If you get a duplicate rare of something that you already have from the last time it was printed, you just get no value out of it. You just have them sitting in your collection for no reason at all, because you only need 4 copies of any of them. Plus, there's not even the duplicate protection that you get with the core set in Standard, where if you already have the rare temples, you won't open more of the temples until the very end. In Jumpstart, the individual card words, it just gives you whatever. It'll give you Ghaltas even if you already have them. So that is unfortunate all around. So opponents on the Lightning deck, they start with a Lightning Visionary. I'll go ahead and just trade Lightning Visionary with my Fanatical Firebrand, because the Lightning Visionary does have prowess, so it's a 2-1 at its weakest. Anytime they're casting non-creature spells, it'll be larger. So I think that's a fair trade with the Firebrand. And now there's a Kiln Fiend. Kiln Fiend is pretty scary. Anytime they play a instant or sorcery spell, they get +3/+0 till end of turn, so it'll attack as a 4/2 off of 1 spell. There's a Hungry Flames to shoot my Pyroling and do a couple damage to me. I'm easily just going to block with Dutiful Attendant here. I guess I could Bone Splinters. Yeah, that would just return Pyroling. You know what? I don't really need all my life. I can take 4 damage here just to maximize value. So I can Bone Splinters immediately without having to cast like a Ghoul Caller's Accomplice to do it. Pick up the Pyroling and recast the Pyroling. So that's a pretty good value play. And now I have a Hungry Flames lying in wait for their next creature. A Lightning Visionary and a Heartfire Immolator. Well, I'll definitely kill the Heartfire Immolator over the Lightning Visionary. And that will trigger Chandra's Pyroling's +1/+0 and double strike until end of turn, so I get to attack for 4 damage. Now I even have an Eliminate here. There's lots of removal in this deck, which I really like. There's a Lightning Elemental from our opponent. They're just going to swing in for 6. Pillar of Flame here. That'll get rid of that Lightning Elemental pretty handedly. Now I get to drop Nocturnal Feeder, which is a 2/1 flyer, plus when it dies it drains them for 2 life. So I can make sure I'm still winning this race. Sending in with the Pyroling, because if they play 1 instant or sorcery, the Lightning Visionary will be a 3/2, which is big enough to attack into Pyroling without any fear of dying. It would be big enough to force Pyroling into a chump block if I wanted to block it, so don't really feel I need to leave Pyroling as a blocker here. We'll block Visionary with my Nocturnal Feeder, though. I'll take the trade and drain them some life. Opponent has nothing else yet. Alright, definitely dropping down Ghoul Caller's Accomplice here. That'll be a really nice chump blocker. It gets to block something, and then while it's in the graveyard, I can spend 4 mana to exile it and create a 2/2 zombie. So it's kind of 2/2/2s off this one card. So our opponent is on a double red deck. They're on Lightning and Spellcasting, which is a really nice combination, because Lightning does have a lot of burn spells. It's definitely got like lightning strike, spells like that, and then spellcasting is all about spells. Homing lightning as well. So that's going to kill both our creatures, and we can return Ghoul Color's Accomplice from our grave. Opponent is down to 6 life, so I only need to hit them 3 times with this 2/2 to ensure victory here. Lightning Shrieker's pretty horrifying, though. That's going to be 5 damage to me right here. I can't even eliminate that. Eliminate can only destroy creatures that cost 3 or less, and Lightning Shrieker costs 5. Alright, here's a Magmut. They're under a very quick clock now. They don't draw a removal spell, I get to kill them this turn, but if they do draw a removal spell with double vision out, that'll kill both my creatures, which is a pretty big loss. Kinetic Augur. Definitely going to discard whatever's in our hand to draw a card, try to hit a removal spell, I would assume. They discard a Lightning Diadem, which that is a removal spell, but it is an enchantment-based one, so it would not double up. Flames of the Firebrand's a pretty great draw. Theoretically, I can just do 3 damage to their face, and since they're mono red, I don't see really a way for them to stop that. Yep, and that is going to put them to exact 0. Pretty brutal draw. Really nice event here. We just got our first wins just right out of the way. Let's see what our final individual card reward is. Ooh, it's a mythic. What would I like here? Probably the Mill Commander. Any of the mythic commanders that are new to the set would be really cool. So the Mill Guy or the Unicorn. Let's see. Ooh, we did get drawn a Liberator of Malak here. That is a commander. It's not new to the set, but it is new to Magic Arena. It's a reprint from Battle for Zendikar, so she's pretty nice. Definitely a very powerful, aggressive commander. 3 mana for a 2/3 flying first strike, and when she deals combat damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So with first strike and flying, it's really easy to get in for that damage with her, and then with the first strike, you're putting a counter on all of your attacking creatures before they're dealing damage, if they don't have first strike. So very powerful, aggressive card. Really cool vampire commander there. So, that is our Minions and Chandra Jumpstart event. I would like to again thank Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring all of my content for this week with the gems and the packs. If you want to see my sponsored live stream, that'll be this Friday at 5 p.m. at twitch.tv/GobletX. I'll be streaming a ton of Dominaria drafts, sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. They will be tweeting that stream out, so that'll be the big one. I'm going to go for it pretty heavily. Usually my streams only get like a couple views. Maybe that one will get like 5 views or something. We'll see. I would love to see you there. If you don't want to see that, you can always just stick around on the YouTube channel for more pre-recorded content right where you're at. Like, comment, subscribe, get your notifications bell and all that nonsense. With all that out of the way, I would like to thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again for more Magic Arena content very, very soon.